Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special Robot Wars series, Battle of the YouTubers, which is mainly based to help set up for Robot Wars Series 1 over on Spike Prime, which I haven't uploaded to yet because I am a useless tit. Anyway, this is basically just a little bit of fun between me and a few friends, where each of us have entered 8 machines who will be fighting it out to see who is the ultimate YouTuber. Now, the way this works is pretty simple. We each have 8 machines who will each go into 8 heats separately. 8 qualifying heats for each representing YouTuber. The winner of each heat will progress through to the grand finals, where it will then be a fight to the death to find out which one of us is the ultimate YouTube channel. Basic fighting combat as before. Each machine has to fight each other to knock each other out to progress through. That wasn't English, but you know what I mean. If both machines are still standing by the end of the fight, then the fight will be handed over to our judges, who will be marking on style, control, damage, and aggression. And this is a little series I'll be going over for the next couple weeks. Well, I say couple weeks. It's more like 2 months, basically. Now then, let's kick this off! And we'll be starting things off with my list, and what a list it'll be. The spinning blade of High AF against the crushing jaws of Bucky the Rebooted, the lifting forks of Sentinel up against the flipper of Combust, the little axe blade of Skybreaker against the power of Duck, and 2 classics of Robot Wars, Mortis and the Dark Destroyer. Let the wars begin! High AF Spinner. Unlike most of the spinners in this series, this one's weapon can move up and down. Definitely unique and also quite dangerous. The blade holding can also help the machine right itself, they think. Did you not test it? But the wheels at the front are extremely vulnerable, and I don't like the welding. Bucky the Rebooted Control Bot. A complete reconstruction from an older machine, Bucky the Robot, with a similar design in terms of weaponry. A very low wedge leading to the clamping teeth that drag the opposition and take back to its den for a quick snack. The front is pretty well protected, but the back of the machine is something that could do with more protection, as well as extra protection for the wheels.
Robot ears, stand by.
High AF with the adjustable spinning blade, and Bucky the Rebooted with the low wedge and clamping teeth.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
So, who will be Don't drive into the pit, High AF. What are you doing? Bucky the Rebooted getting underneath High AF. Not being phased by the spinner, but that will cause problems. Up and over. Righted now, and the wheel's gone! The wheel's gone from Bucky the Rebooted. The left-hand side wheel's gone. Look at this, a great snipe shot. And that's the end of the drive for Bucky. There's no control. They're stuck in the wall. And the backside exposed. Surprisingly though, it's standing up well to the attacks from High AF. Something's gone flying off from Bucky that seems important. But I don't really think that's going to change anything. Bucky, they can definitely take the hits, that's for certain. So they get praise for that, but I don't really think Bucky has any way of... And I guess they knew they had no way of beating them down to the pit. Well, that'll work. Bucky out, and High AF very convincingly through, even if Bucky did commit suicide. An unconventional win, but a win nonetheless. High AF, they go through. Bucky the Rebooted are out of it. Next up, Sentinel and Combust. Sentinel Lifter. Built an inspiration to a machine from the original Robot Arena 2 game from Team Red Zone, the lifting forks with the car steering drive setup built into a tough metal box to lift and control the opposition around by keeping them up and can even topple them over. The only issues with this machine are the exposed wheels and the lack of a stream mech. Combust Flipper. Looks looks like Apollo's long-lost brother after a weight-loss program. Two-wheel drive with a barrel backside, armed with a CO2 flipper, meaning that if the machine gets thrown over, the round-shaped back makes it smoother to self-right. But the wheels are exposed, and there is a lack of any real armor at the front. Not like that really matters, since most of the electronics are inside the big body.
Robot ears, stand by.
Sentinel with the lifting forks, and Combust with the big CO2 flipper and the round backside to help with the self-riding.
3, 2, 1.
Now the question here is, who is quicker? Definitely Sentinel, based on this. Combust's weapon. Stuck him in the air. Sentinel definitely got some good power on that weapon. Throwing Combust into the air. And now seeming to get stuck. Combust. I think there's a problem with Combust drive here. They're very, very slow. And Sentinel maneuvering them very strategically towards the pit. And one nudge, and that's it. And Combust are gone. And Sentinel head on through. I don't even think Sentinel had to try, really. That's the end of Combust. And then cease. A cheeky little nudge from Sentinel right at the end there. But it's Sentinel progressing through. Commiserations to Combust. It was almost a breeze really for Sentinel. They go through. The speed cost Combust. They're out of it. Next up, it's Skybreaker and the American Machine and Duck. Skybreaker! Axebot! Some inspiration for this machine clearly came from an older build of Mortis before they had a lifting arm. Four-wheel driven with good drive and a little axe that moves fairly quick and has the power to actually right the machine when thrown up and over, despite the fact that the overall effectiveness of the weapon is rather questionable. Duck! Rambot! A BattleBot's competitor with a very well protected front which can deflect spinners with the lifting face, running on a four-wheel drive system and able to drive both ways up. The weapon can also be used both ways up as well as a sort of axe-like weapon by having a swing backwards, which they'll need to use effectively to protect those highly exposed wheels.
Robot ears, stand by.
Skybreaker with the very little axe, wonder how effective that'll be, and Duck with the invertible design and strong front weapon and drive.
3, 2, 1.
So who will be, well, Duck, definitely the quicker of the two, it would seem, but they seem to be rotating themselves. That's not fun. Well, that axe is really quick, and look at this in Skybreaker, almost pitting Duck. I think Skybreaker is wondering, what on earth's going on? Where is the fight I was promised? Well, there's your fight, there's the pit, and there's the end of Duck. Very quick and easy. And you can see Skybreaker's kind of just like, well, that was rather anticlimactic. They're spinning on the spot, they know they're the winners. And, well, there's not... Up into the air, ooh! But there goes their axe righting them, Duck trying to right themselves out of the pit. I don't think you'll be able to. And what is Skybreaker doing? Having a bit of fun with the arena spike. I think they're trying to make up for the lack of a fight, really. They're doing a great job of it. I'm very entertained. Ooh. Well, Skybreaker definitely knows how to entertain a fight. Nearly going up and over again. Almost stuck on their sides, but it's Skybreaker through. Duck is out. And a very effortless win for Skybreaker. Poor Duck, what happened to them? Either way, they're out. Skybreaker through. Next up, Mortis and a Dark Destroyer. Mortis. Axebot. A Rebel Wars classic which was known for being extremely expensive to have built with custom electronics and everything. They even coated this machine in silicon carbide, which is as strong as diamond. The main weapons for the machine are the Tanto blade and lifting arm. We saw their effectiveness in the last battle of the YouTubers special before ending up in the pit, but this time, they might do much better. The Dark Destroyer! Spinner! A really cool design from Robot Wars 3 with a rotating spinning blade, which actually makes it look like a weird helicopter that was actually rather effective. Didn't really do a lot of damage, but definitely significant when it came to judges' decisions. The main drive exists in the wheels inside the head, which is probably considered to be the main weakness for the machine, as well as a lack of a Shrimek.
Roboteers, stand by.
Mortis, with the Tanto blade and lifting arm, and the Dark Destroyer with the spinning chopper blade. This is basically a battle here of the Robot Wars classics.
3, 2, 1, go.
Because both machines ended here in Series 3, and then quickly underneath the Dark Destroyer, lifting their arm for no reason, Mortis. Meanwhile, the Dark Destroyer, almost motionless, almost perplexed as to what just happened. Mortis coming in again, Dark Destroyer driving to the wall. This is bad control on their part. Down comes the Tanto blade, and nearly lifting Dark Destroyer up and over. Probably not the best idea to lift him up the head. That blade on Mortis, very quick and effective and quite dangerous. Trying to flip them over again. The Dark Destroyer, though, not getting great angles, and I feel like the Dark Destroyer is not having great mobility. I mean, it's quite difficult when you've got Mortis pressurizing you and just pounding you to the wall, and almost flipping you up and over there as well. But look here, there's no movement, and there's movement now. Is there a problem with the Dark Destroyer? They're having these little jets of movement and then nothing, while Mortis comes in with the lifting arm and the axe, and I think there might be some problem here with the Dark Destroyer. Again, nearly thrown up and over. Not enough, especially when you're doing it against the wall. The Dark Destroyer reversing away, but stopping, and Mortis now throwing them up and over. And that's the end of the Dark Destroyer. They can't self-right. They couldn't self-right when Gravedigger had them thrown over. Look at this. In comes Mortis, pushing with the lifting arm, and it's enough to throw the Dark Destroyer up and over. And there's no chance of them coming back unless Mortis decides to throw them back up onto the wheels, but that's not going to happen. Mortis, there's the pit. And there goes the Dark Destroyer. And that's them gone. And a very almost easy victory there for Mortis, as the Dark Destroyer lies in the pit. Well done, Mortis. They're through to the next round. Don't really think the Dark Destroyer had any real control in that fight. Either way, they're out, Mortis through. And this is how the second round lines up, with Mortis taking on Skybreaker. Two very unique, similar designs actually, those two. That'll be an interesting fight, but first, the spinning blade of High AF against the lifting forks of Sentinel.
Roboteers, stand by.
High AF with the big spinning blade with the adjustable arm. Not seen it adjust much, have we? And Sentinel with the lifting forks and the car steer system.
3, 2, 1.
And I feel like the opening play for High AF would be the wheels or the front to do some damage, and I think they've already knocked off one of the wheels and caused problems, and I think that's what I thought would happen. Although Sentinel, definitely tough and strong and taking the hits, but the wheels gone. The front left side wheel shredded apart, and Sentinel now one less wheel on their drive as they're getting buffeted by the arena spike, and High AF ripping another wheel completely apart. And I feel like this is inevitable for Sentinel. Again, playing with the spike up and over. Nice remake. I thought they didn't have a self-riding mechanism. Sentinel, one wheel left. How are you able to drive? Well, kudos to managing to pull that off. And now they're smoking. And you know what? I'm surprised Sentinel hasn't taken any more damage, but I think... well, I think that was inevitable, really. Into the pit. And that's the end of Sentinel. Hi AF. Well done. They go through. Didn't have to try hard, did they, really? But Sentinel, they definitely put up a fight. Took the hits, but the wheels didn't. Hi AF through. Next up, Skybreaker and Mortis.
Roboteers, stand by.
Skybreaker with the little axe and the four-wheel drive. And Mortis with the Tanto blade, the lifting arm, the tracks, and the silicon carbide armor. This is going to be quite an interesting battle, I think.
3, 2, 1.
It's going to be interesting to see who is stronger. Well, Skybreaker, easy to get underneath Mortis. Mortis flailing their axe, but Skybreaker seems to have the stronger drive. Probably the least effective weapon, though, of the two. Although it does move with some speed. Mortis underneath Skybreaker now can lift them, but they choose not to. Interesting. But their axe still flailing on Skybreaker. Skybreaker definitely got the better driving power of the two. Mortis still flailing the Tanto blade. I don't think that's really doing anything, though, to Skybreaker. It doesn't seem to be causing any problems. Meanwhile, Skybreaker pushes Mortis away. And there's the axe going through where the lifting arm of Mortis is. Now, that could prove problematic. Mortis once again underneath Skybreaker. The axe of Mortis, I think it's just bouncing off Skybreaker. It's not really doing anything. Skybreaker, once again, pushing them around. As I mentioned before earlier, Mortis has a high ground clearance, and the front of Skybreaker is quite low, so Skybreaker can take advantage of that. But look at that! The axe of Skybreaker! It's gone through the armor of Mortis! Well! That's gonna be interesting, isn't it? Look at this! There's the axe! As Mortis keeps flailing on Skybreaker. And don't forget, that's silicon carbide coated armor, which is as strong as diamond. It's effectively diamond coated, Mortis. And Skybreaker's axe went straight through it. Now the arena's spike, and Skybreaker needs to be careful there. And that's why now Mortis can really do a number on Skybreaker as Mortis gets flung up by the arena spike. Well, this is an interesting... well, it's quite interesting to watch this, really. But now Skybreaker up and over, and we know Skybreaker gets self-right, but not from that angle. And I've just noticed the lifting arm of Mortis is up, but it's not doing anything. I wonder if it's stuck there. Mortis holding Skybreaker in, and now the axe of Skybreaker come through Mortis. Back up now to drive Mortis around and use their axe to throw Mortis over. There was good driving there, actually. But now Mortis stuck on top of Skybreaker. I think the axe of Skybreaker is gone through a little gap in the bottom side of Mortis. The arena spike. I think Skybreaker's trying to get them off. Does so now. Mortis once again flailing their axe as Skybreaker drives them into the wall. Well, this might just go to the judges, really. And that's good attacking there, right into the mechanism of that axe of Mortis. It's a good shot from Skybreaker. Doesn't seem to be doing anything, though. There the arena spikes the pinner machine up. And I think Skybreaker might just be struggling here. to get rid of Mortis. Mortis now underneath, and the axe of Skybreaker's gone through Mortis again, and once again are pinning Skybreaker up against the wall, and using that axe, the blade may not be able to hit the body and the back on the spike. That's not good, but this is great aggression work from both machines, and I think this will go to a judge's decision. There's 30 seconds left of this fight, basically. As of this point, there's 30 seconds left, and this could just go to the judges, who will have to mark this fight on style, control, damage, and aggression, and I'm not sure who I want to side on. But I feel like a problem earlier, when Skybreaker was on the spike earlier, went up on the backside, that could go against the normal spikes now, and we are gonna go to the judges. One final push back from Skybreaker. Cease is called. And what a fight that was, but it goes to the judges. So let's see what they're marking on Skybreaker. Underneath Mortis, slamming them into the wall. Here, Mortis getting underneath Skybreaker. They didn't capitalize though, but they did capitalize with the axe. Once again, Skybreaker slamming Mortis into the wall, using their axe while Mortis hammers their axe constantly. Constantly even more here, flailing it. The axe of Skybreaker though, getting through Mortis' armor. Very back and forth, this almost evenly matched in a way. It has to be said, the axe of Mortis definitely siding for them in terms of aggression, but this is where I think it could go in favor of Mortis. Skybreaker up on the spike, and they struggled getting down. Mortis constantly there, the spike as well causing problems, while Mortis kept flailing that axe, and Skybreaker trying to self-right. They managed to here, but Mortis countered by pushing them against the wall, which is good control by Mortis. Mortis very much on top at that point, doing the aggression. The axe of Skybreaker though, getting under a part of Mortis and then able to self-right to get back on top. And I feel like Skybreaker probably was more controlled than Mortis, because they kept on driving underneath him and slamming him to the wall, even got them off thanks to the arena spike. But I feel like the arena spike at that point could probably turn it away from Skybreaker. It's going to go to the judge. It's going to be a tough decision. And the decision is in, and it's a 2-to-1 split in favor of Mortis. They go through to the Heat Final. Commiserations to Skybreaker, but a great fight nonetheless. So our Heat Final is this: the spinning blade of High AF against the lifting arm and axe of Mortis. Here we go, our Heat Final with High AF and Mortis. Quick recap how they got here. High AF seemingly almost effortlessly defeated Bucky the rebooted, sniped off a wheel. That was the end of their drive, and then Bucky the rebooted threw themselves down the pit and out of the competition. And Sentinel ripped off the wheels and pretty much disabled any real control and drive they had, although Sentinel, to their credit, withstood the blade of High AF. It didn't really do much, but then Sentinel went the same way Bucky the Rebooter did. For a shame. And Mortis, the Dark Destroyer first, almost effortlessly really. They had drive problems, couldn't flip them over until about here. They got underneath lifting arm, and that was the end of the Dark Destroyer, and then I've used smaller attacks before, sending them down the pit. And Skybreaker controversially made it this far, split decision, Now, people thought it was wrong of Mortis to have won that. They thought it should have gone towards Skybreaker, who were more on top, more aggressive, more controlling in the fight. That's what they thought, but the judges ruled because of this moment here where they were stuck and they could not move. They were beached up in the back, and Mortis racked up a lot of attacks, and IAF couldn't really move, and that's why Mortis got the victory over Skybreaker.
Roboteers, stand by.
High AF with the spinning blade. A very destructive one of that. And Mortis, the silicon carbide armor, the Tanto blade, the lifting arm, and the tracks.
3, 2,
1, go.
Who will come out on top? Well, because the side of the thing I've gone immediately! The lifting arm of Mortis has gone, now the axe! And I think there's a part of the front plate missing! You can see it there! Part of the metal's gone! Now a panel? That's silicon carbide armor, by the way, don't forget. And High AF's ripping through it like it's nothing! Mortis being shredded, being dissected, being obliterated! Mortis on fire and are beached on their own weapon that's hoisted up! Look at this! There, the attack! And it separated them from the bottom plate of the machine! Mortis! I don't think Mortis has ever been this brutally battered before! They're on what's left of the lifting arm, and Mortis now a plaything for High AF, and all of a sudden Skybreaker seemingly glad they lost the judge's decision, because that blade of High AF has just absolutely destroyed Mortis. The full flip, adding insult to injury. There's the bottom blade separated from what's left of Mortis. They're on fire. Everything's gone wrong for Mortis. I thought they would have stood a chance with the silicon carbide armor, which is as tough as diamond, by the way. Down goes the bottom blade. So if that blade can cut through silicon carbide, it means that thing is stronger than diamond. Mortis, there's nothing left. In they come again, and Mortis gone, destroyed, and it's High AF with a final attack to throw them into the pit, who will be going through to the grand finals. And that was the most destructive encounter on Robo Wars ever. What a victory for High AF and our first grand finalist. What absolute mayhem. No more Mortis. They have been ripped to shreds. High AF is our first grand finalist. I am at a loss for words. Oh, good God. Legitimately, I was not expecting that level of damage. Okay? I was not. But holy. Well, there's nothing left to say, really, is there? It's the only show who's got manly adores. It's bad and it's brutal. It's Robo Wars. Bye-bye.